The Path of Freedom, Vimutti Magga of Arahant Upatissa, published by the Buddhist Publication Society, Sri Lanka. Salutation, homage to the Blessed One, the Consummate One, the Supremely Enlightened One. Chapter 8, Entrance into the Subject of Meditation, Section 2, The Simile of the Young Cow. Now the yogin who practices the first meditation, Jhana, with facility wishes to cause the arising of the second meditation, Jhana. Why? If the yogin is not able to practice the first meditation, Jhana, with facility, though he wishes to remove initial and sustained application of thought and attain to the second meditation, Jhana, he falls back and is not able to enter the second meditation, Jhana. Further, he cannot re-enter the first meditation, Jhana. Hence the Blessed One taught the simile of the young mountain cow, which being foolish knows not good pasturage, and which, though inexperienced, wanders to a far-off precipitous place. She thinks, how, if I were to enter the place I never entered before, eat the grass I never ate before, and drink the water I never drank before. Without planting her foreleg firmly, she raises her hind leg, becomes restless, and is not able to go forward. And not being able to enter the place she never entered before, eat the grass she never ate before, drink the water she never drank before, she thinks thus, I cannot go forward. I must return to the old pasturage. There is a bhikshu. He has not yet attained meditation, Jhana. He does not know a subject of meditation. He has not yet separated himself from lust and does not know how to enter the first meditation, Jhana. He does not practice this teaching nor study it, but thinks thus, how, if I were to enter the second meditation, Jhana, and rid myself of initial and sustained application of thought? Being not at ease, he again thinks, I cannot enter the second meditation, Jhana, and I cannot rid myself of initial and sustained application of thought. I must retire from this, enter the first meditation, Jhana, and separate myself from lust. This foolish bhikshu is as ignorant and inexperienced as the young mountain cow. Therefore, he should practice the first meditation, Jhana. He should make the mind free from lust. Entrance into the second meditation, Jhana. Before and after his meal, in the first and in the last watches of the night, according to his wish, a bhikshu practices adverting, entering, establishing, rising, and reflecting. If he enters the meditation jhana often and goes out of it often and acquires facility in the practice of the first meditation jhana, he can acquire the bliss of facility, cause the arising of the second meditation jhana, and surpass the first meditation jhana. And again he thinks thus, this first meditation jhana is coarse, the second meditation jhana is fine, and he sees the tribulations of the first and the merits of the second meditation jhana. What are the tribulations of the first meditation jhana? The hindrances, as the near enemy of this meditation jhana, stir up initial and sustained application of thought and cause negligence of body and disturbance of mind. Thereby, the concentration becomes coarse and incapable of producing higher knowledge. Therefore, one does not relish the first meditation jhana or partake of distinction in it. These are the tribulations of the first meditation, Jhana. The merits of the second meditation, Jhana, consist in the overcoming of these. Thus we have seen the tribulations of the first meditation, Jhana, and the merits of the second. Here the mind separates itself from the first meditation, Jhana, and taking the kasina sign as the object of the second meditation, Jhana, dwells on it. The mind, disassociated from initial and sustained application of thought, at ease, in joy and bliss, born of concentration, attains to the second meditation, Jhana. If the yogin strives, he accomplishes the destruction of initial and sustained application of thought quickly. He is at ease in joy and bliss, born of concentration, and cause the mind to abide tranquilly. Here I show the four factors of the second meditation, Jhana, that yogin attains to and dwells in the second meditation, Jhana, which through the stilling of initial and sustained application of thought develops internal tranquility, and the state of mind predominance is without initial and sustained application of thought, born of concentration, full of joy and bliss. This is the merit of the earth kasina, the stilling of initial and sustained application of thought is the stilling of initial and sustained application of thought through clear understanding, and also it is named ending. What is the stilling of initial and sustained application of thought? It is the destruction of the tribulations of initial and sustained application of thought pertaining to the first meditation, Jhana. It is the destruction of the roots of all initial and sustained application of thought. It is the co-destruction of the tribulations of initial and sustained application of thought, roots of initial and sustained application of thought, and initial and sustained application of thought themselves. This is the stilling of initial and sustained application of thought. And again, after separating himself from the lower course meditation, Jhana, the yogin attains to the upper fine meditation, Jhana, and causes it, the lower, to perish. Internal. What is one's own is named internal. There are three kinds in what is internal. The first is internal in the sense of personal. The second is internal concentration. The third is internal object. What is internal in the sense of personal? The six internal sense spheres. Internal concentration. The contemplation on one's own bodily state is called internal concentration. The thought which is inward, subjective, does not go outwards, and the nature of which is to understand is called internal object. In this treatise, internal in the sense of personal means to be in a state of blissfulness. Faith, right faith, and the faith which develops meditation, Jhana, are called tranquility in internal concentration. This is internal tranquility. What are the salient characteristic, function, manifestation, and near cause of internal tranquility? Non-disturbance is a salient characteristic of internal tranquility. Repose is its function. Non-defilement is its manifestation. Initial and sustained application of thought are its near cause. Develops the state of mind predominance. The dwelling of the mind in right concentration is called the development of the state of mind predominance. What is the meaning of development of the state of mind predominance? Mind means mentality. Predominance is a name for mindfulness. State has the same meaning as that of natural state, which is taught in the science of sound. State means nature, the stilling of initial and sustained application of thought, and the arousing of the state of mind predominance through unification of mind is called the development of the state of mind predominance. What are the salient characteristic, function, manifestation, and near cause of the state of mind predominance? Pure righteousness is its salient characteristic. Repose is its function. Unruffledness is its manifestation, and the stilling of initial and sustained application of thought is its near cause. It is said that the yogin develops internal tranquility and the state of mind predominance. If that be so, why are these not included in the first meditation, Jhana? In the first meditation, Jhana, owing to the waves of initial and sustained application of thought, the mind is muddied. Internal tranquility and the state of mind predominance, just as owing to waves, water becoming turbid does not clearly reflect any image cast on it. Just so in the first meditation, Jhana, because of turbidity due to the movement of the waves of initial and sustained application of thought, internal tranquility and the state of mind predominance are not clear. Therefore, they are not included in the first meditation, Jhana. Without initial and sustained application of thought, after the stilling of initial application of thought, there is no initial application of thought. After the stilling of sustained application of thought, there is no sustained application of thought. The stilling of initial and sustained application of thought is a state that is without initial and sustained application of thought. Are there two kinds of ending of initial and sustained application of thought? Why are two kinds taught? The stilling of initial and sustained application of thought develops internal tranquility. The state of mind predominance becomes the cause of the state that is without initial and sustained application of thought, owing to the appearance of the excellent characteristic of joy and bliss, which is born of solitude. And again, the stilling of initial and sustained application of thought is thus: seeing through initial and sustained application of thought, the tribulation of initial and sustained application of thought, he abandons them. The state that is without initial and sustained application of thought is the stilling of initial and sustained application of thought of the form element. And again, in what is without initial and sustained application of thought, there are two divisions. The first is without initial and sustained application of thought, that is not due to the stilling of initial and sustained application of thought. The second is without initial and sustained application of thought, that is due to the stilling of initial and sustained application of thought. Thus, without the stilling of initial and sustained application of thought, the 5 branches of higher knowledge and the third meditation, Jhana, are without initial and sustained application of thought. The second meditation, Jhana, is without initial and sustained application of thought through skillful seclusion and the stilling of initial application and sustained application of thought. These are the two divisions. Bond of concentration. This refers to concentration. The first meditation, Jhana, comes from that consciousness, and the second meditation, Jhana, comes from the first meditation, jhana. And again, concentration means that the second meditation, jhana, comes together with unification of mind, joy and bliss, born of concentration. Joy and bliss have already been expounded. The second meditation, jhana, it is called so because it follows the first, attains to the second meditation, jhana, means that he enters the second meditation, jhana. Meditation, jhana, internal tranquility, joy and bliss, and unification of mind are called meditation, jhana. Attains to and dwells in the second meditation, jhana. He acquires the second meditation, jhana, which is free from two factors, endowed with two factors, 3 kinds of goodness, and 10 characteristics, and is associated with 23 merits. This is the heavenly abode. This is merit. This is birth in the abode of resplendence. This has been expounded at length before. Simile of the pool of water. Heavenly abode means that he dwells in a plane surpassing the human because of joy and bliss that proceed from concentration. Therefore, it is called heavenly abode. Hence the Blessed One taught the bhikshus thus: as in a pool of water, with a spring, and into which no water flows from the 4 directions, nor rain descends, the water wells up, cool and pure from within, saturates the entire pool, and overflowing spreads afar. Even so joy and bliss, cool and pure, welling up from concentration, saturates every part of the body of a bhikshu. Thus joy, which is produced from concentration, saturates the body and the mind. A yogin entering the second meditation, jhana, should consider his body in the light of this simile of the pool with water welling up from within. The absence of any stream flowing from any of the 4 directions is to be understood as the stilling of initial and sustained application of thought. As the water welling up from within fills the pool without causing waves to arise in it, so joy and bliss, springing from concentration, fills the mental and bodily factors, and there is no disturbance of mind. As water that is cold cools the body, so joy and bliss, born of concentration, causes all the mental and bodily factors to be at ease. Thus is the reward of the practice of concentration. One is reborn in the abode of resplendence. There are 3 kinds of rewards pertaining to the 3 divisions of the second meditation, jhana: lower, middling, and higher. The yogin who practices the lower meditation, jhana, will, after his death, be reborn in the abode of lesser light. His lifespan will be 2 aeons. If he practices the middling meditation, jhana, he will, after his death, be reborn in the abode of measureless light. His lifespan will be 4 aeons. If he practices the higher meditation, jhana, he will, after his death, be reborn in the abode of resplendence, and his lifespan will be 8 aeons. The third meditation, jhana. Consider the tribulations of the second meditation, jhana. Now a yogin, having practiced the second meditation, jhana, and acquires facility therein, thinks, the second meditation, jhana, is coarse. The third meditation, jhana, is fine. Knowing the tribulations of the second meditation, jhana, and seeing the merits of the third meditation, jhana, he causes the third meditation, jhana, to arise. What are the tribulations of the second meditation, jhana? This concentration has initial and sustained application of thought as its near enemy. This meditation, jhana, being accompanied by joy, is cause. The mind exalts in the possession of joy and is not able to arouse other higher meditation, jhana factors. To be attached to joy is a fault. If he understands these faults, he becomes fault-free. One is not able to acquire supernormal power, or one gains the second meditation, jhana, and is not able to partake of distinction. Thus should one understand the tribulations of the second meditation, jhana. The merits of the third meditation, jhana, lie in the overcoming of these tribulations. If one considers the tribulations of the second meditation, jhana, and the merits of the third, he can remove joy through meditation, jhana, on the kasina sign and be at ease because of freedom from joy. Considering thus, he can, in no long time, attain to fixed meditation, jhana, through bliss, free from joy. We'll elucidate the factors of the third meditation, jhana. That yogin, through the absence of the desire for joy, abides in equanimity, mindful and completely conscious, experiencing in the body that bliss of which the noble ones say, endowed with equanimity and mindfulness, and completely conscious, he abides in bliss. So he abides in the attainment of the third meditation, jhana. Through absence of desire for joy, joy has already been explained. Absence of desire, removing joy, one dwells in equanimity. What is equanimity? Equipoise, protection, non-retreating, non-advancing, serenity, and evenness of mind are called equanimity. There are 8 kinds of equanimity. Equanimity of feeling, of effort, of insight, of the enlightenment factors, of the immeasurable states, of the 6 members senses, of the meditation jhana factors, and of purity. The equanimity of feeling is the equanimity of the 5 faculties. Reflection on the sign of equanimity from time to time. This is the equanimity of effort. If, saying, I will remove the cause of suffering, one attains to equanimity, it is called the equanimity of insight. The practicing of the enlightenment factors is the equanimity of the enlightenment factors. Kindness, compassion, appreciative joy, and equipoise, these are called the equanimity of the immeasurable states. If, on seeing a form, one, being indifferent, is neither glad nor sad, it is called the equanimity of the 6 members. The dwelling in the attainment of equanimity because of dispassion is called the equanimity of the meditation jhana factors. Equanimity mindfulness of purity is the equanimity of purity. And again, there are 3 kinds of equanimity. Equanimity regarded as a vehicle of concentration, regarded as a state of little activity, and regarded as non-action. The equalized skillfulness that is present in all meditations jhana and is neither hasty nor slow is equanimity considered as a vehicle of concentration. This inferior equanimity is near the second meditation, jhana, and removes exaltation of mind. If the mind is not active, it is called equanimity regarded as a state of little activity. This equanimity is near the third meditation, Jhana, and removes all exaltation of mind. If one's mind is not actively concerned with objects, through imperturbability of thought and body, is called equanimity, regarded as non-action. This equanimity is near the fourth meditation, Jhana. What are the salient characteristic, function, manifestation, and near cause of equanimity? Equipoise is its salient characteristic. Non-attachment is its function. Non-action is its manifestation. Dispassion is its near cause. Why is it taught that equanimity is in this meditation, Jhana, and not in the second and the first meditations, Jhanas? In the second and first meditation, Jhanas, the mind, being full of joy, does not become detached. Because of joy and bliss, exaltation of mind is not removed. Therefore, this equanimity is not taught as being present in the second and the first meditations, jhanas, owing to absence of joy and bliss, owing to dispassion, and owing to the removal of the process of combination in the third meditation, jhana. This meditation jhana factor arises because of the mastering of the meditation jhana factors. It is said, abides in equanimity, mindful, and completely conscious. What are the salient characteristic, function, manifestation, and near cause of mindfulness? Recollectedness is the salient characteristic. Non-forgetting is its function. Protection is its manifestation. And the four foundations of mindfulness are its near cause. What is to be completely conscious? To be conscious is to be aware. It is to be completely conscious rightly. There are four kinds of being completely conscious rightly. They are the being completely conscious of oneself, the being completely conscious of one distinctive mark, the being completely conscious undilutedly, the being completely conscious basically. Here, to be completely conscious of the four postures is to be completely conscious of oneself. Entering solitude is to be completely conscious of one's distinctive mark. To know the eight worldly conditions is to be completely conscious undilutedly. To dwell on the object of concentration is to be completely conscious basically. In this treatise, completely conscious in the sense of being completely conscious basically has been taken. What are the salient characteristic, function, manifestation, and near cause of being completely conscious? Non-bewilderment is its salient characteristic. Decision is its function. Investigation of states is its manifestation. To consider rightly is its near cause. Should one be mindful and completely conscious in all places? If a man is not mindful and is not completely conscious, he is not even able to cause the arising of the excess stage of meditation, jhana. Why is it taught in the third meditation, jhana, and not in the second and the first meditation, jhana? Here joy and all other cause meditation, jhana factors are still. Concentration becomes fine, enters a place of fineness, and through the state of being completely conscious, remains firm in the third meditation, jhana. Thus he gains facility in the exercise of the meditation jhana factors. Again, the foolish mind longs for happiness and easily turns to the bliss of this meditation, jhana, for it's exceedingly sweet and named alluring. Thus, through mindfulness and through the state of being completely conscious, one is able to remove joy and acquires facility in this meditation, jhana. Simile of the calf. Again, joy and bliss are intimate. So understanding mindfulness and the state of being completely conscious, one dwells on the object in bliss separate from joy. It is like a calf following its mother. Unless someone holds it back by the ears, it will follow its mother with its head against her side. One understands bliss that is separate from joy, conjoined with mindfulness and the state of being completely conscious, and dwells on the object of concentration. On the contrary, if one does not understand, one re-enters joy and partakes of deterioration in concentration. For the acquiring of mastery over the meditation jhana factors, mindfulness and the state of being completely conscious are taught. Thus, equanimity, mindfulness, and the state of being completely conscious are accomplished. Therefore, it is said, abides in equanimity, mindful, and completely conscious, experiencing in the body that bliss. What is mental bliss? Bliss experience in mind is mental bliss. It comes from mental contact. This is the meaning of mental bliss. This is called bliss. What is body? The perception group, formation group, and consciousness group. These are called body. Experiencing in the body that bliss means to acquire ease of body. Then why is it said that there is no joy in this bliss and that it is not experienced in the body? In the third meditation, jhana, the faculty of bliss is removed. This is according to the teaching of the Blessed One, which says that in the third meditation, jhana, the faculty of bliss is removed. That bliss of which the Noble Ones say, Noble Ones means the Buddha and his disciples. Say means to reveal, establish, explain, point out. Thus is that bliss of which the Noble Ones say to be known. Why do the Noble Ones praise this state of body and not any other? In the third meditation, jhana, although the yogin can easily dwell in pleasing bliss, he does not hold to bliss. The Noble Ones dwell looking beyond bliss. This is an accomplishment of the Noble Ones. Therefore, the Noble Ones praise this excellent meditation, jhana. Endowed with equanimity and mindfulness, he abides in bliss. Equanimity, mindfulness, and bliss have already been explained. Abides in the attainment of the third meditation, jhana. It is called third because of the second. The third meditation, jhana, comprises equanimity, mindfulness, the state of being completely conscious, bliss, and unification of mind. The accomplishment of these is called the third meditation, jhana. Abides in the attainment means that one who acquires the third meditation, jhana, separates from one factor, fulfills 5 factors, 3 kinds of goodness, 10 characteristics, and is associated with 22 merits. To dwell in the heaven world means to be born in the abode of all luster. It is to be understood in the same way as it was taught in the first meditation, jhana. To dwell in the heaven world is to dwell in that pleasant dwelling which is free from joy. To dwell in the heaven world is to dwell in a manner surpassing humans. Simile of the lotus pond. Hence the Buddha taught the bhikshu thus: just as in the pond of blue and white lotuses, the blue, red, and white lotuses are born, grow, and stand in the water, and are immersed in the cold water from root to neck, so this body is filled and saturated with bliss that is free from joy. As the blue, red, and white lotuses stand in the water, so he abides in the third meditation, Jhana. His body should be known thus: as the lotuses born in the water are immersed in the water from root to neck, so he abides in the third meditation, Jhana, with body and mind filled and saturated with bliss that is free from joy. Thus is the reward of the practice of concentration. One is reborn in the abode of the all lustrous. There are three kinds of rewards pertaining to the three divisions of the third meditation, Jhana, namely higher, middling, and lower. If a yogin practices the lower meditation, Jhana, he will, after his death, be reborn in the abode of lesser luster. His lifespan will be 16 aeons. If he practices the middling meditation, Jhana, he will, after his death, be reborn in the abode of measureless luster. His lifespan will be 32 aeons. If he practices the higher meditation, he will be reborn in the abode of all luster. His lifespan will be 64 aeons. The fourth meditation, Jhana. Consider the tribulations of the third meditation, Jhana. Now a yogin, having practiced the third meditation, Jhana, and acquired facility therein, wishes to cause the arising of the fourth meditation, Jhana, and to transcend the third meditation, Jhana. He thinks, the third is cause, the fourth is fine. He sees the tribulations of the third meditation, Jhana, and the merits of the fourth meditation, Jhana. What are the tribulations of the third meditation, Jhana? Joy is the near enemy. Right concentration with bliss is cause, so he is not able to acquire supernormal power. The third meditation, Jhana, does not partake of distinction. Thus he sees the tribulations of the third meditation, Jhana. The merits of the fourth meditation, Jhana, consist in the overcoming of these tribulations. Thus a yogin, on seeing the tribulations of the third meditation, Jhana, and the merits of the fourth meditation, Jhana, meditates on the kasina sign and removes bliss at once. After removing it, he can dwell with the mind of equanimity. Thus meditating, his mind quickly attains to fixed meditation, Jhana, owing to equanimity. We'll elucidate the factors of the fourth meditation, Jhana. That yogin, having abandoned pleasure and pain, leaving behind former joy and grief, painless, pleasureless, in the purity of equanimity, mindfulness, accomplishes the fourth meditation, Jhana, and dwells. This is a merit of the earth kasina. Having abandoned pleasure, this is the abandoning of bodily pleasure. Having abandoned pain, this is the abandoning of bodily pain. Leaving behind former joy and grief, joy is the bliss of mental properties. This is the leaving behind of these. It is said, having abandoned pleasure and pain, leaving behind grief, Where were these abandoned and left behind? They were abandoned and left behind at the exact moments of the meditation jhana. The Buddha taught the removal of pain in this fourth meditation jhana. Where does the faculty of pain that has a reason cease entirely? The Buddha taught the bhikshus thus. In the first meditation jhana, separation from sense desires is fulfilled. There, the faculty of pain, which has a reason, ceases entirely. Why does the faculty of pain cease entirely in the first meditation jhana? Because of the fullness of joy, there is bodily ease. Because of bodily ease, the faculty of pain is ended. That is, through transcending, it is abandoned. Therefore, in the first meditation jhana, the faculty of pain is removed. In the second meditation jhana, the faculty of grief is removed. According to the teaching of the Buddha, the removal of the faculty of grief is thus. Where does the faculty of grief that has a reason cease entirely? Here, bhikshus, initial and sustained application of thought are still, and he abides in the attainment of the second meditation jhana. Here, the faculty of grief, which has a reason, ceases entirely. Why does the faculty of grief cease in the second meditation jhana? If a man has initial and sustained application of thought for long, his body and mind become negligent. If his mind becomes negligent, the faculty of grief arises immediately. In the second meditation jhana, initial and sustained application of thought are still. In the third meditation jhana, the faculty of bliss is removed. In the second meditation jhana, the faculty of grief is removed. The Buddha taught thus. Where does the faculty of bliss, which has a reason, cease entirely? Here, bhikshus, owing to the distaste for joy, one abides in the attainment of the third meditation jhana. Here the faculty of bliss, which has a reason, ceases entirely. Why does the faculty of bliss cease in the third meditation jhana? Joy perishes, and so bliss that arises depending on joy also perishes. Therefore, in the third meditation jhana, the faculty of bliss perishes. If the faculty of pain, bliss, and grief were removed in the third meditation jhana, why is their ending taught in the fourth meditation jhana? These faculties were removed in the third meditation jhana. The third meditation jhana is an approach to the fourth meditation jhana. In the third meditation jhana, these having arisen pass away. Therefore, their removal is taught in the fourth meditation jhana, and again accomplishes the painless and pleasureless, means the overcoming of pain and pleasure. Therefore, the overcoming of pain and pleasure is taught as the accomplishment of the painless and pleasureless. And again, it is because in the fourth meditation jhana, attainment and overcoming occur together. And again, equanimity removes the defilements immediately and entirely. The attaining to be painless and pleasureless means that the mind does not receive and thought does not reject. This is called the attaining to the painless and pleasureless. What are the salient characteristic, function, manifestation, and new cause of the accomplishing of the painless and pleasureless? Middleness is the salient characteristic. Dwelling in a middle position is the function. Abandoning is the manifestation. Removal of joy is the near cause. What is the purity of equanimity, mindfulness? Neutrality is called equanimity. That is called equanimity. Mindfulness is called attentiveness, recollectedness, and right mindfulness. These are called mindfulness. The mindfulness that is clarified and purified by equipoise is called purity of equanimity, mindfulness. How is mindfulness clarified and purified by equipoise? Here, imperturbability and non-action are fulfilled owing to the abandoning of all defilements and owing to resemblance and closeness to that attainment. This non-action is associated with equipoise. Therefore, mindfulness reaches imperturbability and fulfills impassivity. Therefore, this mindfulness is equanimity and acquires clarity and purity. Fourth, this means that because of the third, the fourth is fulfilled, accomplishes the meditation. This refers to the equanimity, mindfulness, and unification of mind of the fourth meditation, Jhana. This is the meaning of accomplishes the meditation. Accomplishes and dwells. One separates from one factor, fulfills three factors, three kinds of goodness, and 10 characteristics, and is associated with 22 merits. Thus one abides in the attainment of the fourth meditation, Jhana. The reward of this meditation is in the heaven world. The merit of this causes rebirth in the abode of great fruition. This was taught fully before. To dwell in the heaven world. This is to dwell in a manner surpassing humans. This is to dwell in the bliss of equanimity. This is called dwelling in the heaven world. Simile of the white cloth. Therefore, the Blessed One taught the bhikshu thus: as a man might sit down and cover his body with a white cloth from head to foot, in such a way that no part of his body is left uncovered, so a bhikshu covers his body and limbs with purified mindfulness in such a way that no part of him is not covered with purified mindfulness. The yogin is like a man who has covered himself with a white cloth, freed from all subtle defilements. He dwells in the fourth meditation, Jhana. Thus should it be known, as a man who covers his body from head to foot with a white cloth is protected from extremes of heat and cold, experiences an even temperature, and is undisturbed in body and mind, so that yogin who enters the fourth meditation, Jhana, experiences neither pain nor pleasure. This is the bliss of equanimity. With it, he fills his body. Thus is the merit of concentration. One is reborn in the abode of great fruition. A commoner who practices the fourth meditation, Jhana, will, after his death, be reborn in the abode of great fruition. If his mind dislikes effort, he will be reborn in the abode of the unconscious. His lifespan will be 50 aeons. If the yogin is a recluse, he'll be reborn in the abode of great fruition, or in one of the 5 pure abodes. Such are the retributory fruits of this meditation, Jhana. Why are the lower, middling, and upper meditation jhanas and the partaking of distinction of the fruition ground taught in the third and not in the fourth meditation, Jhana? There are differences of coarse and fine, according to result. In the third meditation, Jhana, therefore, The excellence of the fruition ground is taught through the partaking of distinction. In the fourth meditation, Jhana, the yogin reaches the limit of the partaking of distinction. Outside this, there is no other partaking of distinction. Therefore, there is no partaking of distinction of the fruition ground. The sphere of the infinity of space. Consider the tribulations of the fourth meditation, Jhana. Now the yogin who has acquired boundless happiness in the fourth meditation, Jhana, wishes to enjoy the space concentration and to transcend the realm of form. He considers thus: concentration of form is cause, space concentration is fine. That yogin sees the tribulations of form and the merits of space concentration. What are the tribulations of form? There are many tribulations, such as the taking up of sticks and weapons, beating, quarreling, slander, lying, maiming, and the like. There are many sufferings, such as pain of the eye and other bodily ills, cold and heat, hunger and thirst. These are the severe trials of the sensuous form. What are the tribulations of the fourth meditation, Jhana? The depending on form objects has satisfaction for near enemy. It is called cause. One who is attached to form and delights in it cannot partake of distinction, but depending on space, one liberates oneself peacefully. In this concentration, one fulfills the gross. Thus a yogin sees the tribulations of the fourth meditation, Jhana, in form. The merits of space concentration consist of the overcoming of these. Having considered the troubles of the fourth meditation, Jhana, and now I show how to enter the concentration of the sphere of the infinity of space. That yogin, having seen form and the great tribulations thereof, and the merits of space concentration, rises from that form concentration, abandons the earth kasina, the earth sign, and practices space concentration. He should dwell on space regarding it as an infinite object. If he meditates thus, he quickly completes the destruction of the earth sign, and his mind rises out of the earth sign and goes beyond the earth sign to space. Through the acquisition of facility in the perception of the sphere of the infinity of space, he attains to fixed meditation, Jhana. That yogin, by passing entirely beyond perception of form, by the disappearance of the perception of impact, by being freed from attention to perceptions of diversity, thinking, infinite is space, enters into and abides in the sphere of infinite space. Entirely means without remainder, by passing beyond perception of form. What is perception of form? The perception, the perceiving, the state of having perceived pertaining to one who dwells in the concentration of the form element. These are called perception of form. Passing beyond means the surpassing of this, by the disappearance of the perception of impact. What is the perception of impact? The perception of visible objects, of sounds, of odors, of flavors, and of tangibles. These are called the perception of impact. Disappearance means the ending of these various kinds of impact perception, by being freed from attention to perceptions of diversity. What are perceptions of diversity? The perception, the perceiving, the state of having perceived pertaining to one who has not attained to concentration and who is endowed with the mind element and the consciousness element. These are called perceptions of diversity. Freed from attention to perceptions of diversity means that one is freed from attending to these perceptions of diversity. Why is it that only the surpassing of perception is taught and not the surpassing of feeling, formations, and consciousness? If a man passes beyond perception of form, he passes beyond all the others. And if a man is not freed from perception of form, his mind is not capable of passing beyond the others. Hence the Blessed One taught the surpassing of perception of form with the intention of setting forth the surpassing of all form objects, because all form objects of concentration are dependent on perception. If that does not happen, that is, if he does not transcend the perception of form, is there or is there not perception of impact and diversity? There is a perception of impact and diversity in form concentration because these are removed later. Why does he not proceed further in that concentration? He dislikes form. Therefore, he does not remove these perceptions in that concentration. This is according to the teaching of the Buddha, which says that owing to the non-removal of these perceptions of impact in that form concentration, sound is a thorn to one entering the first meditation, Jhana. Thus disliking form, he goes further. He destroys them here. Therefore, he attains to the imperturbability of the formless attainment and the peacefulness of liberation. Alara Kalama and Udaka Ramaputta, when they entered the formless attainment, did not see nor hear those 500 carts passing and repassing. Therefore, it is taught as a destruction of the sense spheres, and thus surpassing of all form perception is taught as the destruction of the form states and the perception of impact. By being freed from attention to perceptions of diversity means the destruction of the sense states. Again, the surpassing of all form perception is taught as attainment of the realm of the formless. The disappearance of the perception of impact is taught as the destruction of the outer disturbance to that concentration of the formless, and the purification of imperturbability, freed from attention to perceptions of diversity, is taught as destruction of the inner disturbance to that concentration and the purification of the peacefulness of liberation. The sphere of infinite space. What is space? It is a sphere of space, the element of space and vacuity, that which is untouched by the four primaries. This is called vacuity. When a man tranquilizes the mind by means of the perception of limitless space, it is said that he thinks. Infinite is space. Infinite space means the entering into limitless space. The mind and the mental properties which enter space are called sphere of space. What is sphere of space? Boundlessness is the nature of space. This boundless nature is the sphere of space. This is taught as the meaning of space. As dwelling in heaven is called heaven, so dwelling in the concentration of the sphere of space is called sphere of space. Enters into and abides in the sphere of infinite space means that he acquires the concentration of the sphere of infinite space, passes beyond all form objects, fulfills 3 factors, 3 kinds of goodness, and 10 characteristics, is associated with 22 merits, and dwells peacefully in the enjoyment of the reward of concentration practice. By reason of these good qualities, he'll be reborn in the sphere of infinite space as it was fully taught before. By these good qualities, he'll be reborn in the sphere of infinite space means that he who practices the concentration of the sphere of space will, after his death, be reborn in the sphere of infinite space. His lifespan will be 2000 aeons. The concentration of the sphere of infinite consciousness. Consider the tribulations of the concentration of the sphere of infinite space. Now that yogin, having acquired mastery in the practice of the concentration of the sphere of infinite space, wishes to cause the arising of the concentration of the infinite consciousness kasina and to transcend the infinite space kasina. Considering the concentration of the sphere of space as cause, he sees the fineness of the concentration of the sphere of infinite consciousness. And again he sees the tribulations of the sphere of infinite space and the merits of the sphere of infinite consciousness. What are the tribulations of the sphere of infinite space? This concentration has form for near enemy. The object of the concentration of the sphere of infinite space is gross, and the perception of impact and the perceptions of diversity have not yet broken away from each other. Here, owing to attachment, the yogin is not able to partake of distinction. Thus he sees the tribulations of the concentration of the sphere of infinite space. The merits of the consciousness kasina lies in the overcoming of these. Show infinite consciousness. That yogin, having seen the severe troubles of the concentration of the sphere of infinite space and the merits of the sphere of infinite consciousness, should consider the sphere of infinite consciousness as calm and steadily attend to the arising of the consciousness which proceeds spreading through space with the thought, infinite is consciousness. Thus his mind is held in the perception of the sphere of infinite consciousness. Thus he meditates, and in no long time the mind rises out of the perception of the sphere of infinite space and passes into the sphere of infinite consciousness. In this perception of the sphere of infinite consciousness, the mind attains to fixed meditation, Jhana, thus passing entirely beyond the sphere of infinite space. That yogin, thinking infinite is consciousness, enters into and abides in the sphere of infinite consciousness. Entirely means without remainder. Passing beyond the sphere of infinite space means the passing beyond the sphere of infinite space. Passing beyond means to go rightly beyond. This is called passing entirely beyond the sphere of infinite space. Infinite space, he attends to that consciousness as infinite with which space is filled. Among the form and formless states, which are infinite, only formless states are infinite, because there are no bounds to the formless, and because they cannot be held. And again space is limitless, therefore it is called infinite. The word infinite, ananta, means infinite, ananta. Thus the word infinite is used, so is the word consciousness. Abides in the sphere means abides in the sphere of infinite consciousness. The mind and the mental's properties are called the sphere of infinite consciousness. What is the sphere of infinite consciousness? It is boundless consciousness. This is called the sphere of infinite consciousness. As dwelling in heaven is called heaven, so dwelling in the concentration of infinite consciousness is called the sphere of infinite consciousness. When this consciousness is held in concentration, it is called the sphere of infinite consciousness. Enters into and abides in the sphere of infinite consciousness means that he surpasses the spatial object in that concentration of the sphere of infinite consciousness. He fulfills 3 factors, 3 kinds of goodness, 10 characteristics, and is associated with 22 merits, and dwells peacefully in the enjoyment of the reward of concentration practice. By reason of these good qualities, he'll be reborn in the sphere of infinite consciousness. This was fully taught before. Thus is the merit of the practice of the concentration of the sphere of infinite consciousness. A man who practices the concentration of infinite consciousness will, after his death, be reborn in the sphere of infinite consciousness. His lifespan will be 4,000 aeons. The exposition of the sphere of infinite consciousness has ended. The sphere of nothingness. Consider the tribulations of the sphere of infinite consciousness. Now that yogin, having acquired mastery in the practice of the concentration of the sphere of infinite consciousness, wishes to cause the arising of the concentration of the sphere of nothingness and to transcend the sphere of infinite consciousness. Again, he considers thus: the concentration of the sphere of infinite consciousness is cause. The concentration of the sphere of nothingness is fine. And he sees the tribulations of the sphere of infinite consciousness and the merits of the concentration of the sphere of nothingness. What are the tribulations of the concentration of the sphere of infinite consciousness? This concentration has space for near enemy. The consciousness object is cause. Here the yogin, owing to attachment, is not able to partake of distinction through the considering of infinite perception. The merits of the sphere of nothingness lie in the overcoming of these. That yogin, having seen the tribulations of the sphere of infinite consciousness and the merits of the sphere of nothingness, rises out of the sphere of infinite consciousness peacefully, does not proceed along that consciousness again, does not reflect on it again, and puts away that consciousness. Seeing the freedom of the sphere of nothingness, he wishes to attain to it, and considering thus, he quickly rises out of consciousness perception. Owing to the perception of the sphere of nothingness, he attains to fixed meditation, Jhana. Passing entirely beyond the sphere of infinite consciousness, that yogin, thinking, there is nothing whatsoever, enters into and abides in the sphere of nothingness. Entirely means without remainder. Passing beyond the sphere of infinite consciousness means to go rightly beyond consciousness. This is called passing entirely beyond the sphere of infinite consciousness. Nothingness means that he does not practice consciousness concentration again, does not discern again, goes out of that consciousness sphere and sees only nothingness. Thus should nothingness be known. Sphere of nothingness, the mind and the mental properties which enter the sphere of nothingness are called sphere of nothingness. What is the sphere of nothingness? That which is without the nature of consciousness and empty. The sphere of nothingness is taught as holding to nothing. Enters into the sphere means attains to the concentration of the sphere of nothingness. Enters into and dwells. He attains to the concentration of the sphere of nothingness, passes beyond the consciousness object, fulfills three factors, three kinds of goodness, 10 characteristics, and is associated with 22 merits, and dwells peacefully in the enjoyment of the reward of concentration. By reason of these good qualities, he is reborn in the sphere of nothingness. This was fully taught before. The merit by which a man is reborn in the sphere of nothingness is thus: he who practices the concentration of the sphere of nothingness will be reborn. After his death in the sphere of nothingness, his lifespan will be 6,000 aeons. The exposition of the concentration of the sphere of nothingness has ended. The sphere of neither perception nor non-perception. Consider the tribulations of the sphere of nothingness. Now the yogin, having acquired mastery in the practice of concentration of the sphere of nothingness, wishes to cause the arising of the concentration of neither perception nor non-perception, and to transcend the sphere of nothingness. He considers thus: the sphere of nothingness is cause. The sphere of neither perception nor non-perception is fine. And again he sees the tribulations of the sphere of nothingness and the merits of the sphere of neither perception nor non-perception. What are the tribulations of the sphere of nothingness? It has consciousness for a near enemy. It is accompanied by cause perception. Therefore, it is gross. Owing to attachment to it, one does not partake of distinction. Thus he sees the tribulations of the sphere of nothingness. The merits of the sphere of neither perception nor non-perception lie in the overcoming of these. And again this perception is a disease, a boil, a thorn. Non-perception, this is right, tranquil, and lofty. Thus he sees the sphere of neither perception nor non-perception. And having seen the sphere of nothingness, having entered it, and having reflected upon it, that yogin practices the other concentration by causing calmness to arise out of the solitude of the sphere of nothingness. Meditating thus, he passes out of the perception of the sphere of nothingness in no long time, and attains to fixed meditation, Jhana, in the sphere of neither perception nor non-perception. We'll show the sphere of neither perception nor non-perception, passing entirely beyond the sphere of nothingness, that yogin enters into and dwells in the sphere of neither perception nor non-perception. Entirely means without remainder. Passing beyond the sphere of nothingness means the surpassing of the sphere of nothingness and the going beyond it rightly. This is called passing entirely beyond the sphere of nothingness. Neither perception nor non-perception. He practices other concentration by causes calmness to arise out of the solitude of the sphere of nothingness. This is called the sphere of neither perception nor non-perception. Sphere of neither perception nor non-perception. The mind and the mental properties which enter the sphere of neither perception nor non-perception are called the sphere of neither perception nor non-perception. What is the meaning of sphere of neither perception nor non-perception? Through the removal of cause perception, he is endowed with non-perception. Through there being a remainder of fine perception, he enters the sphere of neither perception nor non-perception. Thus should sphere and neither perception nor non-perception be understood. enters into and abides, he attains to the concentration of the sphere of neither perception nor non-perception, passes beyond the sphere of nothingness, fulfills 3 factors, 3 kinds of goodness, and 10 characteristics, is associated with 22 merits, and dwells in the enjoyment of the reward of concentration practice. By reason of these good qualities, he'll be reborn in the sphere of neither perception nor non-perception. This was fully taught before. By reason of these good qualities, he'll be reborn in the sphere of neither perception nor non-perception, means that he who practices the concentration of neither perception nor non-perception will be reborn after his death in the sphere of neither perception nor non-perception. His lifespan will be 84,000 aeons. Why is this called sphere of neither perception nor non-perception, and not sphere of the infinity of consciousness? He separates from the attachment to infinitude and causes the arising of subtle perception. Therefore, he does not attain to the sphere of the infinity of consciousness. Why are the cankas not destroyed through this concentration? If a man separates himself from gross perception, he'll not be able to see the path. And again, this concentration is exceedingly fine, so he cannot discern the nature of neither perception nor non-perception. Therefore, he is not able to destroy the cankas. The exposition of the sphere of neither perception nor non-perception has ended. Miscellaneous teachings. I further elucidate the meaning of the above. What are the miscellaneous teachings in the field of concentration? Stoppage of sounds, overturning, rising, transcending, access, initial application of thought, feeling, uncertainty. Stoppage of sounds. In the first meditation, Jhana, speech is stopped. On entering the fourth meditation, Jhana, the yogin stops breathing. Gradual stoppage of sounds. When the yogin enters into concentration, he hears sounds, but he is not able to speak because the faculty of hearing and that of speech are not united. To a man who enters form concentration, sound is disturbing. Hence the Buddha taught, to a man who enters meditation, Jhana, sound is a thorn. Overturning, a man concentrating on the earth kasina develops earth perception through non-earth perception. If that be so, does he not fulfill overturning? This earth perception should be known as that perception. It differs from the 4 kinds of overturning of perception. Therefore, it does not fulfill overturning. Rising. The rising from concentration is conditioned by 5 causes, namely painfulness of posture, many bonds, arising of hindrances, unequal skill, and inclination. When a man enters formless concentration, he does not rise owing to many bonds, because he dwells in imperturbability. If he enters the attainment of dissolution and the attainment of fruition, he can rise through previous action and not through any other cause. Transcending. In transcending, there are 2 kinds, namely transcending the factor and transcending the object. To pass from form meditation jhana to form meditation jhana is called transcending the factor. To pass from form meditation jhana to formless concentration, and from formless concentration to formless concentration is called transcending the object. Excess is the excess of all meditation, jhana. It consists of 5 factors: initial application of thought, in the second meditation, jhana, and the others through continued suppression. The state that is without initial and sustained application of thought is fulfilled. Feeling. In the fourth meditation, jhana, and the others through continued suppression, the state that is with equanimity arises without extremes. Uncertainty. Owing to this, one does not remove the hindrances of sense desires and the others, and abides in the sphere of neither perception nor non-perception. This is called with remainder. It is as if, fearing a poisonous snake, a man were to climb up a tree. There are 4 kinds of men who cannot enter into concentration. They surely will be reborn in states of woe. Without cause, they commit the 5 immediately effective deeds. They are of perverted vision. The exposition of miscellaneous teachings has ended. The exposition of the earth kasina has been concluded. The water kasina. What is the water kasina? What is the practicing of it? What are its salient characteristics, function, and manifestation? What are its benefits? How is the sign grasped? The thought that is produced relying on the water sign, this is called the water kasina. The undisturbed dwelling of the mind, this is called practicing. Absorption in the water kasina is a salient characteristic. Non-abandonment of water perception is its function. Undivided thought is its near cause. There are 5 distinctive kinds of benefits belonging to the practice of the water kasina. A man is able to dive into the earth and come out of it easily, to shake palaces, mountains, or the earth, to bring down rain, cause water to gush from his body, and make that water appear as it were the ocean. The other benefits of the water kasina are the same as those of the earth kasina. One who practices the water kasina well sees water in all places. How is the sign grasped? The man who accepts the water kasina grasps the sign in water, that is, natural or prepared water. Here a practiced yogin grasps the water sign in a place where there is no water, or on seeing water in various places. That is, in a well, pot, pond, swamp, river, lake, or lagoon. Thus he can see the sign wherever he likes and can arouse the after-image of water. He is unlike a new yogin. A new yogin has to grasp the sign in a prepared place. He is not able to practice the water kasina with skill in an unprepared place. Thus that yogin, at first, should find out a calm place in a monastery or in a rock cave or under a tree, which is not too dark and where the sun does not scorch. It should be a place where there is no dust or wind, and where there are no mosquitoes, gadflies, or other impediments. In such a place, he buries a bowl or a water pot in clean earth and makes the rim level with the ground. The circumference should be 1 fathom. It should be filled with rainwater and unmixed with any color. The bowl or pot should be full to the brim. Here he should dwell on the perception of water and take the sign through 3 ways: through even gazing, skillfulness, and the elimination of disturbance. The rest is as fully taught before under the earth kasina and the sphere of neither perception nor non-perception. The water kasina has ended. The fire kasina. What is the fire kasina? What is the practicing of it? What are its salient characteristic, function, and near cause? What are its benefits? How is the sign grasped? The thought that is produced relying on fire. This is called the fire kasina, the undisturbed dwelling of the mind. This is called practicing. The skillfulness of sending the mind forth into the fire sign is its salient characteristic. Non-abandonment of fire perception is its function. Undivided thought is its near cause. What are its benefits? There are 5 distinctive benefits. These are displayed in the fire kasina. A man is able to produce smoke and flame, is able to reveal things through producing brightness, is able to destroy the light of other forms, is able to burn whatever he likes, is able to know fire through the arising of brightness. The other benefits are equal to those of the earth kasina. Owing to the practice of the fire kasina, a man is able to see fire everywhere. How is the sign grasped? The man who takes up the fire sign grasps the sign in fire, that is, in a natural or a prepared place. Here a practiced yogin grasps the natural sign. He grasps the sign on seeing any fire, that is, a grass fire, a wood fire, a forest fire, or a house that is on fire. He develops the natural or the prepared as he pleases and sees the appropriate sign. Thus the after-image of fire occurs to him. The new yogin is different. He is able to grasp the sign only in a prepared place and not in an unprepared place. He follows what is expedient in the practice of the fire kasina. The new yogin should at first gather fuel, heap it up in a clean place, and burn it. He burns it from below. At about the time the sun rises or sets, he does not think of the smoke or the flames that rise up. He sends his mind towards the fire sign by directing it to the middle of the thick flames and grasps the sign through 3 ways: through even gazing, skillfulness, and the elimination of disturbance. The rest is as fully taught before. The fire kasina has ended. The air kasina. What is the air kasina? What is the practicing of it? What are its salient characteristic, function, and near cause? What are its benefits? How is the sign grasped? The thought that is produced relying on the air sign. This is called the air kasina. The training and the undisturbed dwelling of the mind are called the practicing of the air kasina. Sending forth the mind into the air sign is a salient characteristic. The non-abandoning of air perception is its function. Undivided thought is its near cause. What are its benefits? There are 3 distinctive benefits in air kasina. A man is able to go about with the speed of air, to cause wind to rise and coolness to prevail. The other benefits are the same as those taught in earth kasina. One follows what is expedient in the practice of the air kasina. How is the sign grasped? A new yogin grasps the air kasina through 2 ways, through sight and touch. How does he grasp the sign through sight? That yogin, seeing a field of sweet potatoes, a bamboo grove, or a grassland, moved by the wind, reflects on air perception. He grasps the sign through 3 ways, through even gazing, skillfulness, and the elimination of disturbance. Thus he grasps the sign through sight. How does he grasp the sign? through touch. In a calm abode, a new yogin makes an opening in the wall, inserts a pipe of bamboo or reed into it, and sits near it, letting the wind comes through it touch his body. Thus he grabs the air sign through touch. A practiced yogin is able to grasp the sign whenever the wind touches his body, whether he's sitting, walking, standing, or lying down. Thus the after-image of air occurs to him. He is unlike the new yogin. The air kasina has ended. The blue-green kasina. What is the blue-green kasina? What is the practicing of it? What are its salient characteristic, function, and near cause? What are its benefits? How is the sign grasped? The thought that is produced relying on the blue-green kasina. This is called the blue-green kasina. The training and undisturbed dwelling of the mind are called practicing. Sending forth the mind into the blue-green sign is a salient characteristic. Non-abandoning of the blue-green perception is its function. Undivided thought is its near cause. What are its benefits? There are 5 benefits. In the blue-green kasina, a man attains to the emancipation of the beautiful. He acquires a position of mastery of the blue that is like a blue flower. He can change all things to blue. He sees the color of blue anywhere through the practice of the blue kasina. How is the sign grasped? The yogin grabs the sign in a prepared place or in a natural place. That yogin sees the sign in blue flowers, blue clothes, or in blue-colored things everywhere. He sees it always before him, in pleasure or in pain, and thus the after-image of the blue-green sign occurs to him. A new yogin is different. He grabs the sign in a prepared place. He is not able to grasp it in an unprepared place. He follows what is expedient in the practice of the blue-green kasina. This yogin makes a mandala on a cloth, plank, or wall with blue of the color of the asita flower, in the form of a triangle or a square. He edges it round with another color. Thus he prepares the blue-green sign. He grabs the sign through 3 ways: even gazing, skillfulness, and the elimination of disturbance. The rest is as was fully taught before. The blue-green kasina has ended. The yellow kasina. What is a yellow kasina? What is the practicing of it? What are its salient characteristic, function, and near cause? What are its benefits? How is the sign grasped? The thought that is produced relying on the yellow sign. This is called the yellow kasina. The training and the undisturbed dwelling of the mind. These are called the practicing of it. Sending forth the mind into the yellow sign is a salient characteristic. Non-abandoning of the perception of yellow is its function. Undivided thought is the near cause. What are its benefits? There are 5 distinctive benefits. A man is able to attain to the emancipation of the beautiful. He acquires the position of mastery of the yellow. He considers various yellow colors similar to that of the kanikara flower. Practicing the yellow kasina, he sees yellow everywhere. How is the sign grasped? The man who takes up the yellow kasina grabs the yellow sign either in a prepared place or in a natural place. The practiced yogin grabs the sign in a non-prepared place. That yogin sees the yellow color of yellow flowers or yellow clothes anywhere. He sees it always, in pleasure or in pain. Thus the after-image of yellow occurs to him. The new yogin is different. The new yogin grabs the sign in a prepared place and is not able to grasp it in a non-prepared place. He follows what is expedient in the practice of the yellow kasina. This yogin makes a mandala with yellow of the color of the kanikara flower on cloth, plank, or wall, in the shape of a triangle or square. He edges it with another color. Thus he prepares the yellow sign. He grabs the sign through three ways: even gazing, skillfulness, and the elimination of disturbance. The rest is as was fully taught before. The yellow kasina has ended. The red kasina. What is the red kasina? What is the practicing of it? What are its salient characteristic, function, and near cause? What are its benefits? How is the sign grasped? The thought that is produced relying on the red sign. This is called the red kasina. The training and the undisturbed dwelling of the mind. These are called the practicing of it. Sending forth the mind into the red sign is a salient characteristic. The non-abandoning of the perception of red is its function. Undivided thought is its near cause. What are its benefits? There are four distinctive benefits. A man is able to attain to the emancipation of the beautiful in the red kasina. He acquires the position of mastery of the red. He is able to change things into the color of red. The other benefits are equal to those taught under the earth kasina. He who practices the red kasina sees the color of red prevailing everywhere. How is the sign grasped? A man who takes up the red kasina grabs the red sign either in a prepared place or in a natural place. The practiced yogin grabs the sign in a natural place, that is, on seeing red flowers or red clothes anywhere. He sees always in pleasure or in pain. Thus the after-image of the red sign occurs to him. The new yogin is different. The new yogin grabs the sign in a prepared place and is not able to do so in a non-prepared place. He follows what is expedient in the practice of the red kasina. This yogin applies the red color resembling that of the bandujivaka flower on cloth, plank, or wall in the shape of a triangle or a square. Or he makes a mandala of red flowers. He edges it with another color. Thus he prepares the red sign. He grabs the sign through three ways: through even gazing, skillfulness, and the elimination of disturbance. The rest is as was fully taught before. The red kasina has ended. The white kasina. What is the white kasina? What is the practicing of it? What are its salient characteristic, function, and near cause? How is the sign grasped? The thought that is produced relying on the white sign. This is called the white kasina. The training and the undisturbed dwelling of the mind. These are called the practicing of it. Sending forth the mind into the white sign is its salient characteristic. The non-abandoning of the perception of white is its function. Undivided thought is its near cause. What are its benefits? There are 8 distinctive benefits. A man is able to attain to the emancipation of the beautiful and the positions of mastery of the white. He overcomes rigidity and torpor, dispels darkness, produces brightness, and arouses the divine eye through the white kasina. The other benefits are the same as those taught in the earth kasina. He who practices the white kasina sees the color of white prevailing everywhere. How is the sign grasped? A man who takes up the white kasina grasps the white sign either in a prepared or natural place. The practiced yogin grasps the sign in a natural place. He sees the sign in various places, in white flowers, moonlight, sunlight, starlight, or a round mirror. Beginning with these, he sees the sign always before him, through pleasure and through pain. Thus the after-image of the white sign occurs to him. The new yogin is different. The new yogin grasps the sign in a prepared place. He is not able to grasp it in a non-prepared place. He follows what is expedient in the practice of the white kasina. This yogin makes a mandala on cloth, plank, or wall in the shape of a triangle or a square, with color resembling that of the morning star. He edges it with another color. Thus he prepares the white sign. He grasps the sign through three ways: even gazing, skillfulness, and the elimination of disturbance. The rest is as was fully taught before. The white kasina has ended. The light kasina. What is the light kasina? What is the practicing of it? What are its salient characteristic, function, and near cause? How is the sign grasped? The thought that is produced relying on the light sign. This is called the light kasina. The training and the undisturbed dwelling of the mind. These are called the practicing of it. Sending forth the mind into the white sign is a salient characteristic. The non-abandoning of the perception of light is its function. Undivided thought is its near cause. What are its benefits? They are equal to those of the white kasina. He who practices the light kasina sees light everywhere. How is the sign grasped? A man who takes up the light kasina grasps the light sign in a prepared or in a natural place. The practiced yogin grasps the sign in a natural place. He sees the sign in various places, in moonlight, sunlight, lamplight, or in the light of gems. Beginning with these, he sees the sign always through pleasure or through pain. Thus the after-image of the light sign occurs to him. The new yogin is different. The new yogin grasps the sign in the prepared place and is not able to do so in a non-prepared place. He follows what is expedient in the practice of the light kasina. This yogin chooses a wall facing east or west. He fills a bowl with water and keeps it in a sunny place nearby. This water causes a mandala of light. From this mandala, light rises and is reflected on the wall. Here he sees the light sign. He grasps in three ways: through even gazing, skillfulness, and the elimination of disturbance. The rest is as was fully taught before. The light kasina has ended.